I got you into a Remington party. What's my thanks? It's on the hallway carpet. I got paid in puke. Lick it up, baby. I got paid in puke.
Welcome to Paid in Puke, a podcast where three women with names discuss movies that are about something other than a man. Paid in Puke is hosted by Amy Green, Christina Barr, and Jessica Baxter. It's also a spoiler-filled free-for-all. You've been warned. On today's episode of Paid in Puke, we get curious about Lana and Lilly Wachowski's 1996 crime thriller, Bound.
That's funny. I'm feeling a little bit curious myself.
Starring Gina Gershon and Jennifer Tilly.
Hi. My name's Violet. We heard you working in here, and I was just wondering if you'd like a cup of coffee.
An open invitation like Violet comes once in a lifetime.
What the fuck is...
Corky, this is Caesar Corky.
I thought... Fucking dark in here.
She's making an offer
So Caesar's Mafia, huh?
I need your help, Corky.
only a fool would refuse.
It's over $2 million.
Because all money
Oh my God.
Look at this shirt. It's ruined.
is good money.
You're asking me to help you fuck over the mob.
I'm gonna ask you 10 times.
I want out.
Where's my money?
If their plan succeeds, if they survive,
Sweet Jesus.
if they can trust each other.
My guess, it was a job. Maybe the Carpellas. All part of the business.
They are bound
I think I'm a dead man. I'm one in the back of the head.
for the pleasure.
You were nothing before you met me. Violet! You were nothing. You had nothing.
For the money,
I want what's mine. I want half the money.
for each other.
What did she do to you?
Everything you could.
Bound.
You guys ready to talk about Bound?
Oh, yay, yes.
Cool. Guess what year Bound came out? The year of our Lord, 1996. The apparently momentous year in filmmaking. And it was written and directed by Lilly and Lana Wachowski, as they are now known. And it was their directorial debut. And it stars Jennifer Tilly and Gina Gershon and Joey Pants.
Joey Pants, thank you.
How many times have you guys seen it?
I don't know. I mean, I saw it when it came out, the weekend that it came out, and watched it a few times over the years, but it's definitely been a long time since I saw it. And we just all saw it in a second-run theater this weekend.
Yeah.
That was so fun.
Yeah, I love the audience. Of the
Yeah,
theater.
that was a rowdy audience.
Yeah.
Somehow had a midnight movie audience at 9:30.
Yeah.
It's pretty funny.
I saw it in the movie theater, and then I'd seen it here and there. It's been a lot of years since I'd seen it. It's still really good. I enjoyed it a lot.
Yeah. Did you guys notice anything this time that you'd never noticed before?
I forgot that Chris Meloni was in it. I never watched Law and Order, but I mean, it's so in the atmosphere so much that I forgot that I knew who that guy was before he was on Law and Order for so long.
My relationship with him is that to me he's Gene from Wet Hot American Summer.
Oh, right.
You wipe that hotshot grin off your face or I'll shoot it off you. You got that? I finish up them taters. I'm gonna go fondle my sweaters.
Come on, what?
Finish up the taters.
And then, what did you say?
And then what did I say?
You said you were gonna go fondle your sweaters.
No, I didn't. I said I'm gonna fondue with cheddar. I was thinking about making fondue with cheddar cheese for dinner tonight.
No, Gene, that is not what you said.
It is what I said. Fondue with cheddar.
Which is one of my favorite comedies of all time, and I've seen it a million times. So that's like my first reference point for him, even though I know he was, I looked it up and he was on 275 episodes of Law and Order or something. It was in the high 200s. So yeah, most of America definitely knows him as that, but
Right.
I know him as a comedy guy, so I kind of think everything he does in a dramatic capacity is a little bit funny, even though he's playing it straight and he's doing a good job.
Well, that's perfect then for
Yeah.
Bound, because he is pretty funny in this, even though it's serious.
He really is. Oh my god, that scene Where you know it's I'll have whatever Violet's having.
I'm not drinking. Neither will I.
Gino. Glad to have it, right?
It better be Jerry.
And I'll have whatever Violet's drinking.
I'm not drinking.
Oh, well, then neither will I.
No, I'll have a Tanqueray and tonic.
Caesar, 2 TNTs.
We've all known that guy, I think.
I actually wish I knew that guy because that really gets me because I hardly ever drink. And I would love that if someone wasn't drinking just because I wasn't drinking too. That would be like a direct line.
On you for a long time that you were never interested in.
That would definitely be very endearing if somebody didn't drink because I wasn't drinking.
Really?
Yes, it would.
Despite the history and the implications.
I mean, I don't know that would make or break things, but it would be endearing if somebody didn't drink because I wasn't drinking.
Aww. Take note.
Maybe someday.
Future paramours of Amy. If you're making a list. Yeah, really funny.
Yeah.
A TNT.
Oh, right. TNT. When I was watching it this time, the other times I guess I just didn't connect that it was the same creators of The Matrix, and so noticing the film work and the way that they focused on different things, I really picked up on that a lot more. And there were just so many cool shots, like focusing in on like the barrel of the gun, and then the scene where they're kissing for the first time, or they're not kissing necessarily like just yet, but their mouths are really close together, and it kind of like hands around them a little. I thought that was really cool.
The incarnation of their camera motions that become their signature.
Yeah, I thought that was really cool. And then like the opening sequence where you don't really know what exactly, it's like motioning through something and then you realize it's a closet with all these like fancy clothes, and then that's eventually where Corky is bound and tied up.
She's in the titular ropes. I like that shot where it kind of shows her finery and her shoes, the price that she paid for this life, basically.
Right, yeah.
And it was definitely interesting to look at it now, seeing it as being made by women. It's kind of hard to, like, what the language is, you know, like you don't want to dead name them, but at the time...
They were known as white cis males.
Right, and the credits are by the Wachowski brothers. But then to look at it through that, you know, there's a lot of Violet saying, that guy knows what I really am or who I really am inside, and there's so much symbolism of, it's almost kind of heavy-handed, the symbolism of being in the closet and coming out of the closet, you know, it's like, we get it. And when she says, oh, you mean inside you there's a little dyke like me?
I don't understand.
I know. Violet, that's because you can't understand. We're different.
We're not that different, Corky.
Let's see. This is the part where you tell me what matters is on the inside. And inside of you, there's a little dyke just like me.
No, she's nothing like you. She's a whole lot smarter than you are.
Is that what her daddy tells her?
I know what I am. I don't have to have it tattooed on my shoulder.
It was interesting to look at it now through that lens of they were at the time presenting as men and now both have transitioned to women. So it's sort of interesting to look at it from that point of view.
Definitely. Yeah. And I think that what seemed as progressive for male directors at the time, I know it's interesting. They were very careful too about making sure that it was represented correctly. They brought in a consultant named Susie Bright.
Oh, yeah.
You know Susie Bright?
A little bit, yeah.
Yeah. She's
like
an
a
author,
sex writer or something, right?
Yeah. She writes about sexual politics, and she's a spoken word performer, and she plays the bartender.
Oh, okay.
So they had her authenticity on the sex itself, and she also asked if she could fill the bar with her quote, real San Francisco dykes.
Nice.
She was concerned with the authenticity. They were concerned enough to bring in a professional to make sure that it felt real. Which is, you know, a male director who is just a male director would never have gone through those lengths.
Right. Yeah. I think they would have been like, what will look hot
to
a man, you know?
Yeah.
They'll be like, who cares about the authenticity? Right. I also learned an interesting fact, which was that Dino De Laurentiis was producing the film, and Jennifer Tilly had a conversation with the Wachowskis about the sex scene, and she was saying, well, we'll get naked for you because I know that you'll take care of us, but we're worried that once it's out of your hands, they'll change the editing and they'll make it more male-gazy. And the Wachowskis were like, we're concerned about that too, so we'll shoot it all in one shot. So that there's no coverage for them to fuck with it. And that's so hard to set up one shot. It seems when you're watching it, you're like, that's an amazing trick shot. There was politics behind it too, which I really appreciate. It's so hard to set up a single unbroken shot, and then especially for a key scene like that. And they only had to shoot it 8 times, which is amazing. This was their first movie they directed, and they were able to get a complicated shot like that in 8 takes. That's amazing. And even then, you only can use one of the takes. It's not like you can splice them together. If it's an unbroken shot, it's the one take. So I appreciated that. And I know Jennifer Tilly and Gershon really appreciated it also. Yeah. I was confused when we were watching the movie. They were definitely, I feel fairly confident saying there were lesbians in the audience. Yeah. And I mean, it was a really fun audience, but they were laughing at things that I'd never thought of as campy before. And they were laughing during the sex scene. So I was curious about why they might have been laughing about it. And I asked my friend, who's an expert on lesbian sex, she thought it was interesting too, but she thought maybe it was just because of how simple it was, because it kind of can be a little more complicated, and usually there's toys involved, and there's not usually just one thing you do to get a woman off. Right. So she thought maybe that was part of it, that it was just like a real simple kind of wham bam, thank you ma'am situation. But it's hot. I think everyone
oh my
agrees
god,
that
the two of them are so hot in that movie.
Yeah. Oh, and another thing I really liked was that they're not old women by any means. They're both in their mid-30s. Well, Jennifer Tilly is 38.
Oh, wow.
And Gina Gershon is 34. And again, I feel like a cis male director would have been like, well, they have to be in their 20s, or no one's going to want to see a bunch of old broads banging, you know. But even though they're both goddesses, like, to even consider them as the leads was going above and beyond what would normally be done. And then to show the sexuality of these women in such an empowering way. I loved it.
Yeah. I read this article, the Entertainment Weekly article, and Gina Gershon said that her agent told her you should not do this movie, and she felt really strongly about doing it, and she's like, this is a movie where I'm the hero and I get the girl. And like,
why wouldn't you want that?
Agent's argument.
Right.
Yeah, I don't know. I guess she thought maybe it would pigeonhole her or something. I don't really know. But she is really proud of this film, and Jennifer Tilly as well. I was trying to think about whether I'd seen lesbians in movies before this. I don't know. I can't really think. Like in 1996 when I saw it, there weren't that many. Maybe like Henry and June I'd seen that. And that was like kind of a lesbian love story, one part of it. I don't know. There wasn't that much representation in movies at all.
Certainly not. Yeah, if we get back to Citizen Ruth, I mean, also 1996. That was very much caricatures of lesbians in that movie.
I think for a very long time it was, if someone's a lesbian in a movie, they have to die or something. Like it has to show that it will ruin your life.
And Hustlers were talking about lamenting about how women never get away with the heist. Finally, there's a movie. I mean, it's an old movie, but yeah, we got one. We got one, guys.
Yay.
So gratifying, that ending.
Yeah.
I love it.
I love the Tom Jones at the end.
Yeah, she's a lady,
perfect song to end it on. So satisfying and campy at the same time.
Right, and then also interesting coming from the Wachowskis at that time, and their first movie was She's a Lady.
And I love that they're in a car together and they're not about to drive off a cliff.
Right,
It's amazing. They're going to go have their great life together.
Yeah, they got the money. They didn't even have to split it with, now, what's Joey Pants' name? Caesar. Of course. Yeah, how can I forget?
Caesar.
I love Jennifer Tilly's voice. It's like such a breathy...
amazing.
Yeah.
Come talk to me all the time.
Yeah.
I will change my name to Corky just to hear you say that.
Oh, I know. Is she an option on
oh my God.
Imagine
that. Her giving directions. I would love that. Like, take a ride on 47.
You did it pretty well.
I podcast. I'll record your math thing for you.
And then Gina Gershon also, she said she started like boxing before the movie to get ready, and she had just done Showgirls. So she had been dancing a lot, so she was very in shape for it. She was trying to channel like a Brando, Robert Mitchum kind of vibe for it. And I think that really worked. I don't know.
That's totally like the tank top that she's always.
Yeah. Like the scene where it's after the love scene with her and Violet, and she's all happy the next day, like in her truck and the tool belt.
A little spring in her step. Getting
I don't know. I thought that was great.
It's funny that her agent let her do Showgirls and tried to talk her out of bound. Okay.
That's ridiculous.
Good college.
I hope she fired that agent.
Right.
I know she'd just done Showgirls, and that was kind of like no one had really seen much of her before that. So that was their first introduction to her. Her performance in Showgirls is obviously amazing also.
Yeah.
Even though that movie's one big problem.
Yeah.
It's one of my camp favorites.
And I think that's what she has said about it. She realized during shooting that this was not going to be good. And she's like, the best I can hope for is this will be like some kind of camp favorite. And then she said a couple months after it came out, she's walking down the street and someone's like, "Hey, darling," in her Showgirls voice. And it was Sandra Bernhardt. And so she was like, okay, that was the best I could have hoped for. I know, right? That's awesome. If you get the Sandra Bernhardt seal of approval for your camp performance, what more can you ask for?
It was kind of like an interesting little ad. They had this mouth harp.
They call it jaw harp or something?
It's called a Jew's harp.
Yeah, I think it's called a... Yeah, I don't want to say it, but I think it is called a Jew harp. I don't know why.
That's what the article I read said. I don't know if that's bad or what.
I know, I think
it can't be good. There's not...
The Jew's harp, also known as the jaw harp, mouth harp, Ozark harp or Jew's harp, is a lamellophone instrument. This instrument is considered to be one of the oldest musical instruments in the world. Despite its common English name, it has no particular connection with Jews or Judaism. This instrument is native to Asia, among whom it is variously referred to as a jais kamuzu, literally, mouth camuse. The common English name Jew's harp is sometimes considered controversial or potentially misleading, and is thus avoided by a few speakers or manufacturers.
She's been on recordings playing that.
Oh, really?
Does it do something besides just go boing?
No, like she's played with Rufus Wainwright on a recording.
So she really plays that instrument.
Yeah.
It is definitely an element of the movie, and it's definitely got like a prison vibe to it. Because when she's waiting in the apartment, I was just thinking about that on this rewatch. Like how excruciating it must have been to just be sitting in that apartment waiting.
It goes on for a long time, yeah.
All the shenanigans. Just sitting there waiting. So I wonder if that's why she pulls that out. It just kind of reminds her of being in prison and waiting.
Right. Oh, maybe, yeah.
It's kind of like a harmonica.
Yeah. I just thought it was funny, like, what is she playing? But it, like, seemed to come up in a couple parts of the movie. Where she's like planning or
uses it to think.
Yeah.
Or help her. It
Also, I feel like
her brain.
It's also always good to call attention to her mouth because her mouth is amazing.
Oh, yes.
That's I remember my friend James saying like her mouth is like the mouth you draw when you draw cartoons, kind of. You know, I mean, like,
totally.
or that's what he said. He's like, I love her because her mouth looks like the way I draw a mouth. You know, it doesn't look real.
It is kind of unreal. I mean, Jennifer Tilly's lips are also really amazing. They're just these little plump, pouty Betty Boop lips.
She is like a walking cartoon character.
Yeah, in the best possible way.
Yeah, totally.
She's so hot.
And she wore those furry cardigan sweaters and stuff. It was very 50s looking.
At a time when fashion was not that way. I mean, it was really refreshing to see her in those outfits. Because that was like the big chunky sweater.
It's kind of grunge era, yeah.
Yeah, it's the same vibe as Audrey in Twin Peaks. It's that same throwback vibe where you're like, I'm a sexy 50s throwback while everyone else around me is wearing chunky knits. Yeah. When I saw that movie, I was very inspired by her looks and totally went out and bought like a bunch of lacy slips and things and wore them as dresses for a while. I was like, okay, how can I be Jennifer Tilly? I never could do that voice. I kind of also wanted to be Gina Gershon, too. Like, I would have loved to have been able to rock a tank top like that.
She's got great arms,
And I had, like, this studded belt for a while. The barbed wire tattoo. So 90s.
Oh, yeah, I know.
Yeah.
I think her tattoos would have been a little different if they'd made this movie now.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
I had to look up what the labrys was.
Right, I did too.
Are you surprised I know what that is?
That's a great tattoo. Beautiful labrys. Are you surprised I know what it is?
Yeah, I didn't know what it was. I know, I appreciate that line because I feel like it's letting the audience know, like, okay, this is like a lesbian thing.
Yeah,
like,
exactly.
Like, for the straights who don't know, I mean, they make it clear this is some kind of symbol.
Yes. So, a labrys is a double-headed ritual axe, one of the holiest Cretan religious symbols, but the root word labus traces to the Latin word labus, which means lips.
Mm-hmm.
And I think you can yada 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 the rest of that. Nice. Not that she probably needed like a towel for.
Right. I don't think she's being too subtle.
We've been gushing about this movie for a while, but we could do hot props because that kind of is a good transition to one of my very few hot props.
Shut up. Hot probs is on.
Oh, shit, yeah.
Which is that it took all day for that lady to do that tiny tattoo.
I have a tattoo. Would you like to see it? A woman in upstate New York did it for me. Do you like it? Took her all day to do it. She promised it wouldn't hurt, but it was sore for a long time after.
Yes. What?
It took all day. Why?
That is such a small tattoo.
Was it her first tattoo?
All day. Right. That would have taken 10 minutes, maybe? It's not even a bunch of colors, you know?
No. I think it's 2
Has
colors.
anyone ever gotten a tattoo before on this set? Why did it take all day?
And maybe it took all day to put on the fake tattoo. Make it look real.
Right.
Yeah, that's one of them for me.
Yeah, I guess a little hot prob is who called the police when there was gunfire.
I thought it was Corky.
Why would Corky call?
To save Violet. Because things were going bad.
Oh, I never thought of that. I mean, I just, well, for 2 reasons. It's like, one, I kind of thought it was established his neighbors know to look the other way when they hear stuff. And also it does seem like there's nobody else in that building ever other than...
Yeah, I never see anybody else. But yeah, like the owner of the building is an Italian name.
Right.
So it does seem like he's part of it. Yeah, it's like an apartment for mafia, basically.
Right.
So that's why I thought it was quirky, because no one else would call the cops, and then also they knew what apartment to buzz.
Oh, okay, yeah. Yeah, I never...
But I don't think we see her pick up the phone.
Yeah. Oh,
I thought it was like an out for her because she knew that Violet could talk her way out of getting in trouble for whatever happened.
Ah.
And she's good at talking her way out of it.
That was my favorite scene when he's like, just stall them. She's like, how do I know you're really the police?
Please open the door.
How do I know that you're really the police?
It's so cute.
Just her face when she says that too.
And they are super dumb.
Right.
So.
Yes. My God. Both of them. He's like, I'm just going to use your bathroom and not notice that there's 3 dead bodies in the bathtub while I'm in here.
God. Yeah, that was a nerve-wracking part.
I know, it seems, so that's kind of, I mean, the cops are very dumb, but I feel like a cop would open the medicine cabinet and snoop around in the bathroom just because, why not?
Right.
Most people would do that, let alone, like, someone who's supposed to be trained to be suspicious at all times.
Right, like they are very easily sold on the story, like, oh, it was just the loud TV.
Yeah, before they even get to the apartment, they hear the TV and they're like, oh yeah, they've already made up their minds about what happened. very lucky that he turned on a
I know that there happened to be something with
10 seconds to pick something. And
right. Yeah, that is.
And it was like the most exciting part of Night of the Living Dead. Which is a very quiet movie for the most part. That's a little bit of a contrivance there. But then that also brings me to my second hot prop, which was there's so much blood in that carpet.
Oh, God.
Which is...
Is this a condo?
Oh, yeah.
That there's no way you wouldn't have left blood tracks all the way down the hall and then turned around and been like, wait a second.
Right, yeah. Why? It's funny that they make a point of showing him step in it and get blood on his shoe like that.
Yeah, that's a whole...
and he's just going to walk off, don't worry.
Yeah, they could have just had him standing on the carpet and it not oozing through. I know they're trying to build tension, but I think it still would have been tense.
Or if it oozed out from the edge of the carpet or something instead of...
directly onto his shoe.
Right.
Oh my God.
The hot prop for me was when Caesar came in with the bloody bag of $100 bills. I felt like the blood was just so... The color of the blood just...
It wasn't
seemed
right.
not right. Like
Yeah.
It was magenta-y tinted almost. I don't know.
I thought it looked like straight ketchup.
Yes.
It might
It
have
didn't
been.
look like blood to me.
Oh, I guess also the shootout, when he shoots all three of them, like he's pointing a gun at the big mob guy for a long time and nobody else, the other two mob guys just let it go. Like that seemed like he would have just, one of the other two would have just shot him immediately or sooner,
Johnny would have been you're pointing a gun at my dad and I already hate you, so nothing for me to just kill you now. My dad will forgive me.
Right. Yeah, like why would we not?
I loved when he took all of the dollar bills and ironed them and one by one strung them on the
I do really like that.
Yeah. Cool. Like
it was unreal.
Yeah. Yeah.
He hung it up.
He what?
To let it dry. It was unreal. Hundreds paper clipped everywhere like leaves.
Such a filmic
You're going to have to try to do your Jennifer Tilly.
Right.
And then how Johnny's like, I want you to admit that it wasn't a lot of work.
Right. I know. That's infuriating.
That is kind of perfect. That conversation is pretty well written.
Oh, come on, I just want to know one thing. Just one thing after he made such a big deal about it. I bet it wasn't such a big deal, huh, Caesar?
What's that, Johnny?
The money. I bet it wasn't nothing to make it clean after you made such a big fucking deal about it.
Johnny, what'd I tell you?
It's important to me, Pop. It's a simple question. If you just answer the simple question, that's the end of it.
Where's this going, Johnny?
Just admit it.
Admit what?
That you overreacted. You lost it. Not me. It was your mistake.
You want to play it this way? I can play it this way. You want to know who made a mistake? Open the case.
Everything Johnny says is accidentally incriminating, and I really like that scene a lot. My third hot prop was just the Violet's so smart, and I know that things were going wrong and she was freaked out, but I really feel like she would have waited until Caesar left to pick up the phone that last time.
Mm-hmm. Right.
She seemed pretty confident that she convinced him to go out, and I know that she couldn't wait to talk to Corky, and she was a little stressed out, but they wouldn't have had to change anything to just have, like, the sound of a door closing before she picks up the phone.
Right.
I can see that, yeah.
Yeah, it is hard that she makes a dumb mistake that you don't think that she would make.
Yeah. Because she definitely knew that if he saw her on the phone...
Right, and she knows, she doesn't even try to come up with an excuse. She does not try to make anything up when he comes in and catches her on the phone. She knows she's just straight up caught.
Yeah. I really think she would have waited for him to leave the apartment altogether.
Right.
It just bothers me because she's so smart otherwise.
Right, because then later it's
very
very smart when she calls him and says, if you want to survive, you better pretend I'm Gino.
Hello?
Hello, Caesar. This is Gino.
What?
You're blowing your only chance, asshole. Act like I'm Gino.
Holy Christ, we've been worried sick about you, Gino.
Good boy.
It's Gino.
Where the hell is he?
We were in a car accident,
They were in a car accident.
but everybody's all right.
Everybody's all right, just bruises and shit.
Unfucking believable.
Yes,
You know,
exactly.
that was very clever. I remember seeing that the first time. I'm like, that was really smart. I would never have thought of that.
You're blowing your one chance. I'm surprised how much I remember, how many like beats I remember, because it's been a long time since I saw that movie. The line punctuations.
Right. Yeah, I always remember being tickled by him going, just bruises and shit. He's so hammy in this movie.
Yes, it really is.
Oh my God.
Fucking dark in
I
here.
know, oh my God.
Fucking dark in here.
And he delivers every line like that.
18 fucking years.
You know, he did time himself. 13 fucking years.
Oh, the other hot prop that I just thought of, he hits the redial button on the phone, and the phone through the wall starts ringing, and Corky's just like walking backwards away from the phone,
gosh,
but I would have like ripped the wire out or something so it doesn't make any noise.
She does do it eventually, but
yeah, she does.
Too
Right,
little too late.
too
Yeah,
late.
maybe she realized. I don't know. She might have thought that as soon as it rang once, it was over.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah, that scene could have just used a couple tweaks, I think, of
Right.
those two very smart women suddenly being so stupid. I guess they had to wrap it up somehow.
Right, yeah, they have to get her over there. But I do like how they lay that out throughout the movie of like, these walls are so thin,
Yeah.
you can hear everything.
The walls here are so terribly thin.
Really?
It's like you're in the same room.
I really enjoy that, how that's sort of a theme the whole movie, and it comes into play that way. It also comes into play where she can hear Violet with that guy Shelley and Caesar and all that, but then it also comes into play that he can hear the phone ringing on the other side of the wall.
Yeah, and that is kind of the first time that they hear something from that apartment in the other
Right.
direction.
Right.
I do really love the parallels. That's such a neat story trick of just every time, like when she's in the bathroom when he's putting the bodies in the tub and she's in that bathroom, and when she's in the bathroom when Shelley's getting his head put in the toilet, and it's just cool parallels the way they shoot that, and also good like dramatic moments for the actresses to just be able to look meaningfully at the walls.
Right.
And I really like the wallpaper in the apartment a lot.
That is,
I kind of want to live in that apartment.
It's nice, yeah.
After somebody else cleans up all
the
bloody
paint,
off
yeah.
the floor.
Next call.
I've already started underlining meaningful passages in her copy of Moby Dick, if you know what I mean.
My favorite line was, Caesar, you don't know shit.
Yeah.
You don't want to shoot me, right? Do you? Do you? I know you don't.
Caesar, you don't know shit.
Yes.
Yeah.
She just like shoots him. That was such a great, satisfying moment.
Yeah.
It's
I don't know,
perfect, too, because he's been underestimating her for their entire relationship, basically. I mean, it's been so cathartic for her to say that to him.
Yeah, just how many times in movies where men convince the woman, or even in real life, like, no, you don't want that, or you don't.
Oh, yeah, you're not going
like
to shoot me. That's always...
Right.
That's always
I love it. You're not going to shoot me.
You're not going to do that. And she's like, yeah, you don't know shit. So that was awesome. That was so satisfying to see. Yeah, that was definitely my favorite line.
I also really like just the last lines, the last exchange. Of,
Yes.
You know what the difference is between you and me.
You know what the difference is between you and me, Violet?
No.
Me neither.
Because they've had so many conversations up until that point of how, with Violet being like, we're not that different, and Corky insisting that they are.
Right.
So it's really nice to see Corky finally, like, trust her and see their commonalities and...
Right, it's really charming.
Yeah.
She kind of a little bit, I feel like, lords it over her that, you know, she's being her authentic lesbian self, whereas, you know, Jennifer Tilly is living with a man. That's a really charming exchange at the end. All my favorite lines are just because the way Jennifer Tilly says it. You know? Like, my favorite is gunfire. Gunfire. Is this a joke?
We had a report of gunfire. See if you can buzz us in, please.
Gunfire. Is this a joke?
No joke, ma'am.
It would be so unusual for her to hear gunfire. What?
Oh, I like the line Corky tells Violet not to apologize. The one thing I can't stand is women who apologize for having sex. I enjoyed the scene where she came over and brought the coffee to her. And she's like, I guess you were
straight black.
I bet your car is 20 years old.
I guess you were straight black.
Good guess.
I'll bet your car is 20 years old.
Truck.
Truck. Of course.
63 Chevy.
I knew it.
And then they go away in the truck in the end.
Oh, I also love, and again, it's just how she says it, but when she comes over, she's like, oh, you must think I'm such a nuisance.
Shit. I didn't know he would call you. You must think I'm a total nuisance.
Not exactly.
Nuisance.
Nuisance. She had trouble pronouncing Glenlivet. Which I didn't notice, but after I have to go back and listen because she was saying, I just had the worst time saying Glenlivet.
Oh. I love that shot when they show her drop the bottle on purpose, when she just reaches out and drops it.
Yeah.
The bottle will slip from your hands. An accident.
What the hell was that?
I like that a lot. And we already said, but another favorite line for me is when he says, I'll have what she's having, and she says, I'm not drinking. Neither will I.
All the mob guys seem to be totally enamored with Violet.
Right.
Well,
weird.
It makes sense.
Yeah,
and they
totally.
probably can't believe that she's with such a trip. They're all just like, and they can see how he treats her too.
You shouldn't have to see this. Why don't you get out of here? Go for a walk.
Caesar wants me to stay.
Don't worry about Caesar. I'll handle Caesar. You just get out of here.
Okay.
I like that, like, they have her back in a way, even though they're predators too. She knows that she can use that to her advantage when they're around.
Yeah, they do seem pretty protective of her.
And it's very helpful for her in the end as well.
Right.
Never understand it, Mickey. You didn't even call the police.
I told you. The family doesn't want the police around. We want to take care of it ourselves, and we will. I'll find them. I swear I will.
I know you will.
You sure you're going to be okay? I mean, if you're having second thoughts, my office still stands.
Thanks, Mickey, but I have to get out. You know, I have to get away from all this. But thanks. Thanks for everything.
The conversation where Corky's all salty because she heard Violet with Shelley, and she's saying you were having sex, and she's like, it wasn't sex, it was work.
That's what he's saying. They don't have sex with men.
I don't.
For Christ's sake, Violet. I heard you. Thin walls, remember?
What you heard wasn't sex.
What the fuck was it?
Work. You made certain choices in your life that you paid for. You said you made them because you were good at something and it was easy. Do you think you're the only person that's good at something?
That's a really great conversation, showing their perspectives, and even though Corky isn't sold in that moment, I feel like, you know, it resonates with her and she thinks about it for a long time, and that's how she's able to come around in the end.
she's good at that, and
Right.
Corky has her own talents, and they use that. Those are their tools.
Exactly, yeah. And it's a nice differentiation. The way she's having sex with them is not the way she has sex for real, you know?
Right, yeah.
It really is work for her.
Yeah.
And she is good at it. And it's afforded her this life. It has become a prison, but she gets out.
Yeah.
And I like that Shelley inspires her, too, to leave, because she's like, he could have left, but he didn't, because he was scared of changing the status quo, basically, and now he's dead, so you gotta take the chance.
I kind of wonder if Violet would have, if that was like a true love thing, or would Violet just go on to the next person, or I don't know. I just really want to know what happens. Like, would they be together forever, or
They seem pretty well matched. I don't know. I felt pretty good about that relationship. It wasn't like the end of Say Anything or something.
Oh, God.
They're gonna break up in 6 months.
Right.
I really feel like they had a
Yeah.
lasting connection.
Yeah.
Those experiences, too, kind of brought them together. I would like to see a follow-up to that, though. That'd be great. Maybe they should make a sequel now.
Yeah.
That would be awesome.
And plus, they could do so much with the de-aging technology. Like, it must not be that expensive because they use it all the time.
They
now.
do,
They're
yeah.
basically like, we have young Robert Downey Jr. forever. So they could totally make a movie where it showed the adventures of
Oh, were they actually like CGI?
Basically, they use footage from old movies. Like in the Avengers movies, that's when they've been using it the most. Is like, they have like Robert Downey Jr. from Bret Easton Ellis movie.
Oh, Less Than Zero?
Yeah, it's basically like Less Than Zero, Robert Downey Jr. in like full scenes in Avengers movies. I mean, it looks very real.
That's amazing.
So I think they could, especially now that the Wachowskis are a big deal, they could, they could afford it, or they could convince somebody to put that in. That'd be really fun. They're in middle adventures and then showing them somewhere in there.
Right.
As the age they are now. Scamming more men along the way would be great.
Right.
I'd definitely watch that for sure.
Yeah.
That'd be awesome.
Did you notice when Johnny dies, he gets shot and then he's about to fall, and he did totally feel like he was about to say corn nuts. It was such a
He does
heavy
say
shot.
don't
He says
shoot,
don't
right?
shoot, yeah.
It's
But it
that
was
kind of
totally like
similar
that
vibe.
pause and then
Don't shoot.
There's some Heather's influence on this movie.
Probably unconsciously. It's just in the zeitgeist. I do really like that as a scene of Caesar's brutality, of him just like yelling in Johnny's face when he's dead. Like, who's the dead guy now?
I'm a dead man, Johnny. I'm a fucking dead man? Guess again, Johnny. Who's the dead man? Who? Who's dead, fuckface? Who? Who? I can't hear you, Johnny. Guess again. Take another guess, Johnny. Take another fucking guess.
It's kind of funny.
It is pretty funny.
As fucked up as it is. 'Cause
Yeah.
It's all bloody, but yeah. He's so over the top, but in a believable way almost. It's-
Yeah.
What else does a suicide need, huh? Now, if you'll excuse me.
Well, I just have to talk about that one shot that I loved so much when it follows the phone cord from one phone to the other, and the camera makes the little loop because there's a knot in the cord.
That is really cute.
That is, yeah. But we could do our lunchtime poll.
Yeah, I think it's lunchtime poll time.
So this is what's called a lunchtime poll.
Our lunchtime poll today is, under what false pretense could Jennifer Tilly seduce you over to her apartment? Basically, what's your talent that you can help her with? Who wants to start?
I would not be able to get the earring out of the drink. I think if it was, I bought something from IKEA and I can't put it together, can you help?
Ooh, that's a good one.
I'm pretty good at that. Yeah,
Do you enjoy putting together stuff?
Not especially. I don't. It's like neutral for me. Unless sometimes it ends up being some big pain or something like won't go in and you have to be like pounding on it. But I will put something together. I can. That would definitely be something I could come help you with if Jennifer Tilly was next door and didn't want to be a nuisance.
I just can't put this furniture together.
Shit, I didn't know he'd call you. I love that. She acts like she didn't know he would call her.
I don't know, the whole scene is so great, too. I mean, for the obvious reasons, but I love that Corky has her made from minute one. Like,
Right.
she knows that it's all a setup, but she's still going along with it because she's...
Right. Why wouldn't you?
Yeah, exactly. Well, I mean, if she really doesn't believe that she's gay.
Oh, yeah.
But I guess she's like, well, we'll see where this goes.
Right.
Curious, maybe.
Curious, maybe.
How about you?
Well, one thing I have done, I have replaced the drain assembly on my bathroom sink, and I was really proud of that.
Wow.
Ooh.
So I could do that. I did a pretty good job, I think. I could help her with that.
Mine's really boring now, I think, in retrospect, but I was trying to think of, like, you know, my mechanic, because I'm really good at baking and stuff like that, but that's not usually the kind of...
I need some help with this.
I need some help baking. I'm really good at wrapping up cables.
Oh.
Yeah, that's...
I learned how to wrap cables in film school, and I use it all the time, and I'm always rewrapping cables that my husband has thrown into a drawer, like take them out and wrap them up, wrapping up Christmas lights.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, that would be
I'm
good.
really good at dealing with cables.
That would be a good one.
This would be so aggravating when they get tangled up and knotted. You know, there's so many of them and you don't know where they lead to. Yeah, I can see that. Yeah, that's a good one.
That is a good one.
Oh, good. I was see if it'll work.
Yeah.
We're all at these clusters of desks and all our computer wires. There's a long power strip that's like 3 feet long and there's so many cords in it. It's really annoying trying to figure out where I need to unplug my computer. Where is the plug? Where's it going?
Yeah.
Which outlet is it?
What you want to do is you want to take some masking tape and wrap it around the part of the cable that's plugged in.
Oh,
and then
that's a good idea.
Say what it is. That's what it looks like behind all of our TV setup.
Oh, nice.
That's a hot tip. Oh, I should do that.
Yeah. That's like one of the most valuable things I learned in film school is just how to deal with cables. You have a lot of shit to plug in.
Oh, nice.
How very.
I read in the article, I'm like referring
That's
to the
okay.
Entertainment Weekly article I read, but it was such a good insight into the movie. Gina Gershon's mom was like, you were such a good actress, because I totally believed that plumbing scene. I guess she went into that and she's like, I don't know what I'm doing, but I'm going to look really cool when I'm doing it. Her mom was like really impressed with her acting, with the plumbing skills.
That's awesome.
Yeah. And that was really, really cool.
That is some good insight.
Yeah.
She's like, I know you don't know how to do that. Yeah, that's such a great scene of foreplay where it's like the water is dripping down the pipe.
And she's like just
And her
standing
legs in the
directly
back.
behind
Oh
her.
my
Yeah.
God. Those femme fatale legs.
Yeah.
Oh my God. Yeah, that's a really good scene. Joey Pants says that he improvised that handshake when he walks in. When he walks in, he's like, it's fucking dark in here. She uses the hand that she was
right.
And he apparently improvised that handshake.
Oh.
I know, it's great, because you could see Gina Gershon kind of smiling a little bit, too, when she pulls out her hand.
Right. Nice.
I really like that. It's a nice little bit of actor magic that that made it in. And it's just such a nice power play. It's really cool.
Another thing I read, one of the love scenes, the ratings advisory board, they gave them a really hard time about it. It was where she puts her finger in her mouth and, you know, that scene. There's like nothing, they're not showing any nudity, nothing. It's just like a hand.
It's just boobs, yeah.
Yeah, and then...
boobs and toes.
The Wachowskis were like, it was just straight up homophobia. They didn't want that scene in it. And they're like, so you are saying the girls did such great acting that you actually believe they're having sex? And they kind of admitted that was the reason they didn't want it in. But then the bed scene they were totally okay with somehow. The studio heads didn't want females having sex with each other on film. And it's just homophobic.
Yeah, without a man present.
Right, and they also got offered way more money to do the movie if Corky was a man instead.
Oh,
but they didn't want to do that, so...
Yeah.
Obviously.
That movie's been done.
Yeah, exactly.
So they had a limited budget because of that? They refused to change Corky's gender?
I think so. Well, it's just, they could have gotten a lot more money.
Okay.
If Porky had been a man.
I think you can tell that the budget was not very high, especially for the budget that Wachowskis were given for later movies. But I like the way that they worked around it, or limited sets. There's just basically those two apartments.
Really, yeah.
And then the parking lot, and then the bar.
Practically the whole thing takes place in those apartments.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They really did well with a small amount of money.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it looked really good.
Yeah.
Everything was so filmic and just really sharp looking.
Yeah, it was very slick. Yeah. I mean, it was a pioneering film for that era, too. Movies did not look like that.
Yeah.
Before then. Now there's been a million movies that look like that. I feel like Guy Ritchie basically stole from that. He's like, oh, that's what I'm going to do. That's going to be my style.
Yeah, he totally did. Yeah, churned out a lot of them.
I do have one other fact, which was when they originally financed the film, Jennifer Tilly was set to play Corky.
Oh, wow.
Which is just impossible for
I
me to
know.
imagine at this point.
Right.
She just done Bullets Over Broadway, where she was kind of a similar character, and she was interested in doing something different, but then when she met Gina Gershon, she was like, oh yeah, this makes much more sense.
Right.
So they switched roles.
I cannot imagine her as Porky, right?
I looked up what her character's name in Bullets Over Broadway, because I was like, was her name Violet in that too? But it wasn't. It was Olive.
Oh, nice.
I enjoyed that movie.
Yeah, I love that movie. That's why I love her. Going back to Cheers. She was on an episode of Cheers, and Dash loved her. Like,
really?
It was like almost borderline as this like sexual awakening for Dash, because she was so funny on that episode. And he was like referencing it a lot for a while. She was like an old girlfriend of Sam's, and he set her up with Frasier.
Oh,
it was like Frasier was all down in the dumps, and he's like, oh, I know this good time girl. You know, this girl who's never met a man she didn't like a lot, and she goes out with Frasier, and Frasier immediately falls in love with her. It's so funny. She's so funny in that episode. We watched it like 4 times because she was just so funny.
You've done your charity work for the evening.
Charity work? You really are a sad case. How a guy with such a great forehead could get so messed up.
Wait. The least I can do is give you a ride home. I'm going in your direction.
Which direction?
Out.
Oh. Thank you, Frasier. You're sweet.
Say, you know, I just realized I'm feeling kind of hungry. Would you like to get some food?
Oh, food, my favorite.
Yeah, it's like they run off together, and then they decide to elope. And Dash's favorite part was they're going to get married in the bar, and Carla says, Frasier isn't my cup of tea, but I feel like you're doing a smart thing because he'll probably always be faithful, and if not, who cares? And she's like, that's kind of beautiful.
That's kind of beautiful.
It was really fun for a few weeks.
It was really, really good.
I love it.
Thank you. But it was fun for about a couple weeks. Dash constantly imitating her. That's kind of beautiful.
Oh, wow. Yeah. What happens, though? Because they don't stay married.
They don't actually get married. Sam and Diane both try to talk them out of it. They're all talking, and then they're having this very heated argument. And then her name in the show is Candy. And Candy says, she's like, now here's what I think.
Here's what I think.
Candy, please, you are not put on this earth to think. Diane, you are without a doubt. Oh, my God. What have I done? What have I said?
You said I wasn't
No, I know what I said.
And so he kind of realizes that they're not a good match, you know. Nothing really happens, and he feels really bad about it, but they're like, maybe you guys want to get to know each other a little more before you get married. The other thing that Dash thought was very funny, she isn't even mad. She's like, I didn't understand anything anybody was saying except for Sam. And then he's apologizing. He's like, I'll never raise my voice to you again. And she's like, that's too bad because it was kind of sexy.
That's too bad. I thought you were kind of sexy when you were mad.
And Dash like referenced that a lot too. He's like, that was kind of sexy.
He might be onto something. dad.
Yeah, I think something really hit a spark with him.
What's going on here?
It's worth like looking up that episode and watching it because it's very funny.
I definitely will.
Yeah.
I want to see Cheers again. She has such an awesome voice. There's so many great cartoon shows now. I wonder, like...
She probably has done
She's been
voice stuff,
She was
I
like
think.
a regular character on Family Guy. Is
Oh.
Family Guy still happening? She's a regular character on Family Guy. Have you seen the Chucky movies that she's been in?
Oh, right. Yeah, no, I never watched
Oh my
that.
God.
She was
She's
in that.
so awesome in the Chucky movies. So hilarious. And she plays herself. And
Oh,
she
I didn't
plays,
know that.
her spirit gets put into this doll that looks like her. Her doll and Chucky's doll get married and then they have a kid, and that's the seed of Chucky. So she's bride of Chucky and seed of Chucky. She's so great. They're really funny movies. Joe Dante basically realized these movies are way better if they're just as campy as possible. So he started making really campy versions of the Chucky movies.
Oh, wow.
But even so, even though it's so funny, I heard her talking about Brad Dourif. Do you know Brad Dourif? Veteran character actor Brad Dourif. He's the voice of Chucky.
Oh.
And an amazing actor. He's really a serious actor too. And she said she said that he was so method, even as Chucky.
Even as oh my God.
But like in a fun way, like they had a really good time. But like she said they had so much fun just like talking about their characters and their motivation and backstory and everything. And she was like, no one on earth would have put nearly this much thought into playing a killer doll. She really appreciated that. She said that was one of her best experiences working was with Brad Dourif.
Wow.
Yeah.
Oh, that's a great story. Did you ever see One Flew Over the Cuckoo's Nest?
A really long time ago. I don't
Because
really
he's
remember it.
the guy that stutters or whatever.
Oh.
And he's also been in a bazillion things.
He's been in,
like
Lord
so,
of the Rings.
Right.
I'll probably, yeah.
He's someone, if you look on IMDb, it's going to be like 200 credits. Have she and Meg Tilly ever been in a movie together?
I don't know.
Oh yeah, Big Chill, Meg Tilly.
I know,
That's
your
the other thing
friends.
I
They're
remember
sisters.
her from, yeah.
I don't know Meg Tilly other than that they're sisters. I'm not very familiar with her catalog.
She's Big Chill and Agnes of God, but I don't remember what else she's done.
I want to apologize to our listeners if they hear a bunch of hammering through. Our neighbors are getting their roof redone, and every once in a while I'm just like, oh god damn it, the hammering. So if you hear hammering, that's what it is.
Don't call the police on it. Is this a joke? Hammering. Is this a joke?
Gina, you gotta do one. You gotta try one.
I love the way she said Caesar. It's so hard to replicate. You do such a good job.
Yeah. All right, Amy, say Caesar for it.
Caesar.
Oh, that's great. I feel like that's a good way to wrap it up. On the next episode of Paid and Puke, we diffuse Jay Roach's 2019 drama Bombshell, starring Charlize Theron, Nicole Kidman, and Margot Robbie. If you enjoyed this episode of Paid and Puke, please take a minute to rate us highly on your preferred podcast listening apparatus. If you did not enjoy this episode, no further action is necessary. Thanks, guys! Paid and Puke is hosted by Amy Green, Christina Barr, and Jessica Baxter. Music by Silent Partner. Follow us on Twitter at Paid and Puke Pod, or join us on Facebook at Paid and Puke Podcast. Thanks for listening.
Lick it up, baby. Lick it